Back with Alden Chodash of AldenBoxing.com. Let's quickly recap last weekend's action, Alden. It was Vladimir Klitschko laying out Hasim Rahman. Have we seen the last of Rahman first?
I really hope so. Hasim Rahman has been on a downward spiral probably since the loss to Oleg Moskayev years back. The second loss, of course, and really it was an unnecessary fight. It was really unfortunate that Rahman was the late replacement, and Klitschko did what he had to do. Really can't be impressive against an opponent like Rahman.
Okay, and the Kendall Holt versus late replacement Demetrius Hopkins. How do you rate that fight?
Oh, first of all, here's a late replacement that knows what he's doing in there. Demetrius Hopkins would be just as worthy as if he was the original opponent. I think Hopkins fought a very good fight. He just was giving up so much power that the impact of Holt's punches just basically turned the fight in his favor. Hopkins probably was the more complete boxer. He fought a very competitive fight. I wouldn't argue with the one judge that scored it in his favor, despite the arguments of the Showbox commentators. I think he fought a good fight, and Holt's kind of one-dimensional. He fought more like a power puncher than I've seen him recently, but with that style, he was able to prevail and defend his title.
Okay, Holt likely will be facing Timothy Bradley for unification. Who do you think has the edge in that fight?
Probably Kendall Holt, because he's the more complete fighter, unless Timothy Bradley lands a good punch on him. Bradley's a decent puncher, probably not the puncher of Ricardo Torres' status as a power puncher, but other than that, Kendall Holt's the more complete boxer, and he's more fluid in there. He could be able to outbox him, unless, of course, he gets caught.
Okay, and finally, from last weekend, James Toney outpoints Frezzo Kendo. Does this lead us to a James Toney Dominic Wynn rematch?
Why?
Exactly. Okay, and coming up this weekend, it's Vander Holyfield weighing in at 214 versus Nikolai Valuev, 310, almost 100-pound difference, but Valuev is the lightest he's ever weighed in for a fight. Who do you think is going to win this?
Yeah, there's really no need talking about this, to be honest. I'll give a few comments, but this is really terrible, really, when you think about it. Nikolai Valuev really shouldn't be the champion. He's some kind of champion. He's maybe interim, or he's still a champion, but Ruslan Chagayev is the grand champion or something like that. But other than that, Evander Holyfield is totally an unnecessary opponent. Add in or not, he should not be in the ring fighting anymore. And Nikolai Valuev, I hope he doesn't get hurt against him. I'm not saying Valuev's a great fighter, but Nikolai Valuev is just so big, and Evander's is so old.
Okay. All right, now let's talk about some fights, some interesting matchups that may or rumored to take place in 2009. Chad Dawson, Antonio Tarver 2. Why?
Can these matchups get any worse? It's unnecessary, I really think. For Chad Dawson to take on an opponent that he's clearly better than he dominated in the first fight. I mean, Tarver gave a good effort, but I don't think he won more than 2 or 3 rounds in the fight.
In Chad's defense, though, who else is he going to fight?
He needs if he can't find guys at 175, he's big enough to fight at cruiserweight. He's fought at 168 before, probably wouldn't go back down there again, but there's plenty of guys he could fight. A more logical rematch would be Glenn Johnson, who's debating why this fight's even taking place as well as I am. He's much more worthy. He's a guy that many people thought beat Dawson in a very entertaining fight the first time around. It makes all the sense in the world to have a rematch. Okay. The opposite in the case of Tarver.
Okay, it looks like HBO put the kibosh on Jermaine Taylor, Carl Froch. They say they don't want that fight. They're pushing for Taylor, Winky Wright 2. Do you like that?
That's a decent matchup.
Should have happened 2 years ago, right?
It definitely should have happened 2 years ago. It should have probably happened immediately after their first fight, which was a draw. They had an entertaining fight against each other. Jermaine Taylor's been somewhat inactive also, but nowhere compared to how inactive Wright has been. Taylor pretty sharp. If the fight would come off, he probably would win dominantly, unless Wright has more left than we'd expect. I just have one question. I don't know why he's taking so much time off in the first place. I mean, a loss to Bernard Hopkins isn't that diminishing that it deserves such a layoff.
Okay. Freddie Roach likely will be in the corner of Nonito Donaire when he's rumored to fight Fernando Montiel. That's a good one, isn't it?
It's a good fight, really. He's a better boxer. He's taller than Montiel. He's got all the tools to outbox Fernando Montiel. I mean, Montiel's a fabulous boxer, but I've seen him have to come forward in fights against taller, rangy opponents and had to use his power. And he's got a chance with his punching power. I mean, I've never seen Nonito Donaire with a big puncher that's been able to connect. We never really had the chance to see against Victor Chinyan, who probably could have hurt him if he landed and wasn't knocked out so early. But I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how Montiel does when he connects against Nonito Donaire. I mean, he's a much more orthodox fighter and could probably get his punches to Donaire much easier than Chinyan.
Okay, Kevin Kingpin Johnson calling out Chris Arreola. Another good fight?
Kevin Johnson, what I've seen from him against limited opposition is that he's a very good boxer. He's strong, but mostly a good boxer on his toes. He has a good jab. He looks like he has all the tools to outbox Arreola and possibly even hurt him based on just his brute strength and the fact that Arreola has been hurt before. But if that fight comes off, I'd be leaning towards probably a decision for Johnson.
For Arreola?
For Johnson.
For Johnson?
I think he could outbox Arreola.
He's going to have to work hard, and he hasn't shown that in the past.
He's been in 10 rounds before, but once again, it's limited opposition.
Right. Vitaly Klitschko, David Haye, maybe 2009. Like that one?
That's a good matchup. It's probably the best matchup you could make in the heavyweight division, and it's a good matchup in general. I think Haye could flaunt Vitaly's offense based on his speed and his head movement. He's much more fluid than many fighters in the heavyweight division, and let alone the fighters that Vitaly's faced throughout his career. But Vitaly's probably too big, too strong, and too tall.
I think too clever also. You agree?
He's smart. David Haye's smart also. He's just not physically big enough to connect with some of the shots that he may want to.
Okay. February 28th, likely date for Juan Manuel Marquez, Juan Diaz. Is that mouth-watering for you?
Yeah, the matchups keep getting better now. Yeah, that's a great fight. Both are two of the best lightweights in the world. Juan Manuel Marquez is the Ring Magazine lightweight champion, and besides Nate Campbell, Juan Diaz also may be one of the best lightweights in the world right now. And it'd be a perfect matchup. It could turn out to be a boxer-puncher, but I think both fighters would be going to war in that match because Marquez, despite his great boxing skills, has been in wars with fighters that could punch.
Okay, and closing things out, May 2nd, rumored Manny Pacquiao, Ricky Hatton. You said in last week's show it's going to be Pacquiao. Let's go into it a little bit more. First of all, what does Hatton have to do to win this fight?
He's got to rough Pacquiao up. He's got to make it dirty. He's really got to put so much pressure and make it so dirty that Pacquiao doesn't have a chance to open up. He really doesn't have any other options in that fight. I think he's a limited fighter, and Pacquiao should probably pick him apart.
Well, explain rough him up. How do you clinch Manny Pacquiao? Has he ever been clinched before?
He needs to come forward with punches, and when he's on the inside, hold, shift, punch inside, fight the fight that Manny Pacquiao is not accustomed to. Manny Pacquiao is not really an inside fighter. He likes to keep his distance. He likes to use his feints, and I mean, he likes to rumble on the inside, but the way Ricky Hatton fights on the inside is unaccustomed to many fighters that box today.
From what I've seen Ricky lately, it's come forward, hurt the guy with something if he could, and then tie him up. But doesn't seem like he could do that to Pacquiao.
I don't think so either, but that's his only chance. Once again, he's a limited fighter, and he would have to do what he always does to win. And I just don't think that'd be successful against Pacquiao. Okay,
last week also, this is our final question. Last week also I asked you, and maybe I didn't phrase it right, but I want to be clear now. Manny Pacquiao would have always beat Oscar De La Hoya, the Oscar De La Hoya that beat Vargas and beat Pernell, Whitaker, and Chavez. Manny Pacquiao would always have beaten Oscar De La Hoya. Yes or no?
Yes. Obviously, it would have been much closer, and the De La Hoya that beat Fernando Vargas and plenty of other great fighters. But I think Manny Pacquiao, like Shane Mosley in 2000, had too much speed and was too shifty.
Okay.
It would have been too shifty.
Very good. Thanks, Alden, for talking to us. Remember to check out aldenboxing.com and fightfan.com for more information. Bye-bye.